Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. And welcome to week 5 edition of the College Football Devy Stock Report. Going to be joined again by my podcast co host, Jason DiRienzo. We're going to give you 4 stock up players and 4 stock down players. It's hard to believe we're through week 5 of college football already. There's some players who are overachieving and some that are disappointing, and we've got it all broken down for you. So you play Dynasty, C2C, Devy, fantasy football format. Hit that subscribe button. Help me grow the channel. Let's get to the show. All right, Jason, let's get to our Devy stock report for week 5. Hard to believe we are in week 5, but I'm going to kick us off here. And I'm going to talk about Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston, 6'4", 209 pounds. This guy for the last 2 weeks in college football against Northwestern and Rutgers has just been killing it. Over 120 yards both weeks with 2 touchdowns. So I watched his game against both games actually this morning. And man, I'll tell you what, this guy has been buried again. He is a true junior. He's at Washington, so he was behind Odunze and Polk and, McMillan and all those receivers for the last couple of years. And, this was a guy that had some buzz coming into the season as a potential breakout player. And I think it's happening before our eyes here. But I'll tell you what, he's got that 6'4", 209 frame. He looks a little light and thin out there, man, but this guy is a ball hawk out there. He's got some great contested catch ability. But what really impressed me watching the film was his vertical ability for being such a big kid. I mean, he's going to be a true X-type receiver. Have you watched any of Boston?
You know what? I have not. I've only seen the highlights, so I haven't really seen him in live
So
yet.
I watched both of those games, and I mean, his versatility is really good. I mean, he primarily plays out wide, but he did line up in the slot a couple times, and I think he's got some route running chops. And again, he only had 7 receptions his first 2 years, so this is really his first
That's
year.
crazy.
And he's already got 30 receptions, 412 yards, and 7 touchdowns through 5 games. The last 2 weeks, he's just breaking out, and really like what I see. Again, for being a big player, man, he has got some vertical prowess that was really impressive and had some, good yak ability. But he had to be a stock up player after watching the games. Because it's something. So it's somebody that you and I really haven't talked about on the podcast, for quite some time. So Denzel Boston is my first Devy college player stock up.
Yeah, he's been highly productive, so that is a good call. I'm excited to jump into his film and just break him down a little bit more. I'm going to go over to Jacoby Lane, the USC wide receiver, and thank you, Brandon, for putting this on the sheet. It's like you
Yes.
knew that I was
Yeah.
going to pick him. How
Your
did you
boy,
know?
man. This is your boy.
It's
This
my
is your
boy.
boy. This is your boy. I got to give you
And
props.
he's coming on. He's looking pretty good. And you see that length at work, definitely. I mean, he's got the length to where if oh my gosh. If Miller Moss has to put the ball up, he trusts Jacoby Lane to come down with the ball, and that has been evident in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and especially in the end zone, we see him great ball tracking ability, has great body control too. Once he secures the catch, he has excellent body control to come down and secure it, even with contact imminent and bodies around him and on him. So he's got that functional strength too that I really like. So Jacoby Lane to me could be a primary weapon at the next level. I need to see a little bit more consistency, but the explosiveness, the speed, the length, the strong hands, it's all there right now. So hopefully we see it continually manifest as the season progresses.
Yeah, that body control on those catches were pretty impressive.
Yeah,
In that game, and USC, they're looking for someone to emerge, right? I mean,
for sure.
they're looking for somebody, and so far so good. So yeah, I had to put him on the show sheet for you, my friend. So I saw those 2 touchdowns. I was like,
I'm in.
oh yeah, we're gonna put that on the show
It's
sheet
happening.
for him. So I'm gonna go a little deep on my next college stock player here, Jack Besh. Do you remember him? He was at LSU for 2 years. I think he started out as a tight end at LSU. He was there for 2021 and 2022. Last year, 2023, he transfers to TCU, only had 146 yards, no touchdowns. This year, dude, he is absolutely killing it. 644 yards, 6 TDs. So I had to go in and just take a look at the film. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. This guy works the middle of the field on inside slants and seam routes so well. I mean, he is just really impressive. Now he plays 60 this year. He has played 75% wide out in the slot. Previous, he was always in the slot. So he's a boundary receiver, but his yak ability is what really, struck me watching him. He averages 6.8 yards of yak per reception. but he was just really, really good with the ball in his hands. And I got this, and I don't want to hype this guy up too much, but man, he gave me McConkey vibes, the way he played and just worked. He's one of those just solid possession receivers that I thought he accelerated, off the line very, very quickly. And I was just really impressed. I watched, 2 games of him, but he's just been tearing it up lately. So he's a senior. He's probably going to go to the Senior Bowl. I think he has 1 year of
Mhm.
eligibility left. But Jack Besh is somebody, but TCU, I'm going to be keeping my eye on. So he was my Devy stock up player because I don't know if he's going to go to the NFL draft right now, but he might come back for another year. But the guy has just been just tearing it up.
Yeah, he's been absolutely tearing it up. I have him on my C2C roster, and I think there's only 1 week where he hasn't been absolutely dominant. So, yeah, I think that's a great call. The kid definitely deserves some recognition for what he's been doing this year. I'm gonna go to a Miami tight end, and that is gonna be Elijah Arrero? How do you say it? You said
Arrero,
it really Arrero.
Arrero. Yeah,
Arrera. There we go.
maybe.
See, I'm going to
Who knows?
Brandon for help. That's how
That's
you know
not
this
good.
isn't big
It's
big one.
not good.
Yeah. But this kid is good, and he is proving it week in and week out with Cam Ward under center. And it's pretty evident that you see the athleticism when he's got the ball in his hands. Like he's got that yak ability, he's got the athleticism to really stretch those legs. He's a long strider when he runs and maximize, hit that after the catch ability. And when he's running deep, he can be a deep threat as a tight
Mhm.
end because of that speed, and that is going to be really tough for NFL defenses to try to stop, and I think that is what is going to give him some value as he makes his way as an NFL prospect, but the problem is that he's had so many injury concerns, and they've limited him being on the field, and we know that the best ability is availability. So he has to prove that he can stay healthy and be on the field. But if he does that, it would not shock me if we see him rise up the tight end ranks pretty quickly because he has really been putting on a show this season. So Elijah is definitely a stock up right now.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. He was a player that we talked about when he was an incoming freshman. He was a high recruit, I believe, coming out of high school many years ago,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
thought he was going to break out earlier than he did. But hey, sometimes it takes guys a little longer to break out and get comfortable on the field. So there's our 4 stock up players for week 5. So let's talk about some players that we feel are stock down players. And I got to start off with Mark Fletcher Jr., the whole Miami backfield. I
Oh,
talked earlier about Damian Martinez and how he's disappointing me as well. This whole backfield at Miami is just a rotating, committee. And Mark Fletcher Jr. just hasn't really gotten much going. 142 yards and zero. He has 3 TDs on the season, averaging 5.5 yards a carry. But I just don't think he's going to get enough run to really showcase his skills to, continue to elevate his Devy stock. Now he's a true junior, right, or a true sophomore. So, you may be draft eligible next year, but he'd probably be staying in college, for 2 more years. But just hasn't had any explosive plays. He's a grinder. You and I have liked Mark Fletcher. For his
yeah.
size, he's got some lateral ability.
Oh,
But
definitely.
I just don't. I think this whole backfield is just going to dampen all of the values of all of these players. We're just not going to get a guy that's going to, I think, break out. And with Cam Ward just being the focal point of this offense with his legs and his arm, I'm just nervous that the majority of these running backs on Miami are just going to be stuck in a committee, and they might pop every once in a while, but Mark Fletcher's just not going to be able to, I think, get enough carries to continue to showcase what he can do day in, week in and week out on the field.
It's crazy how the tables have turned at Miami because usually it's the running that you can depend on and not the
Mhm.
passing. And that's not like that this year. And they have a nice stable of running backs. I can't believe that we're talking about them all being a stock down. Definitely did not expect that. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the running back position too. And I know this is a guy that a lot of people were really hyped on, and including you and I. I mean, we like the film, and that's going to be Texas running back Jaden Blue. And it's not necessarily that he's like, don't like, completely jump off the ship of him and stuff, but where he was being valued and how we saw him, it is just not happening with the opportunity that he has this year. He's already dealing with injuries, and then when he's on the field, not really seeing him maximize that potential. And some other guys are actually taking the reins over him, and that's not what you want to see from Jaden Blue, who we already had question marks about prior to this year. I think it was opportunity, and some of the film was actually really good. Like, he's got some really good movement ability, and he's an outstanding pass catcher.
Yeah.
So he's got that going for him, but he's gotta be more consistent, and he's really got to have that wow game, like that game that really makes everybody be like, that's the Jaden Blue that we've been waiting on, and we just really haven't gotten a chance to see that yet against competition that's going to make us feel good. So right now, where Jaden Blue was being valued, he's definitely going to be a stock down.
Yeah, and I'm probably one of the guys that have been hyping him up because his limited film in 2023, watching the All 22 over the summer was good. I mean, he has the movement skills. Now,
Yeah,
two things I want to add to
absolutely.
what you want to say is I watched him this weekend and he does lack that physicality that I look for. That he seems to go down pretty quick. Has the elusiveness and the ability to make guys miss, but he fumbled the ball twice this week too.
Yeah, he
Like
did.
he
Yeah.
fumbled it twice and lost the ball both times. So young man, you've got to hang on to the football. But I don't disagree with that call. Maybe we'll get a wow game. Who knows? So my second stock down player is a tight end from Arkansas, Luke Haas, right? He was a freshman last year. He is a true sophomore. Last year, he really broke out early. I actually put a film out on the YouTube channel. He made this spectacular catch in the back of the end zone. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. Has the requisite size, maybe a little short for a tight end, but nonetheless, he was an ascending tight end. And this year, he just can't get anything going. He has 7 receptions for 70 yards and 1 touchdown. The last 2 games, he's been really non-existent in the, you know, on the field for Arkansas. So he's just going to be my stock down player. I have a lot of shares of him, especially in the waivers and in the C2C supplemental drafts. I took him. So I'm a little disappointed. He just has not gotten it going yet. And the 1 touchdown that he did have in week 2 was just like a really wide open thing. I didn't see him really didn't make any guys, miss or anything like that with the ball. So stock down for Luke Haas as a tight end.
Yeah, it's a shame. I really liked what he put on the field last year. I thought this was going to be a really good year for him. So it's a good call though, because he's got to he's got to be more productive than what he's doing
Productive,
right
yeah.
now. And my next guy that I'm have as a stock down, and I know there's a lot of people in the industry that really liked Kyron Drones, the Virginia Tech quarterback, with his size and dual threat ability, and it's there, absolutely. And I see some of the glimpses that everybody gets excited about, but at the same time, I am definitely concerned about just his ability to read what he sees on the field and react to it. I think he's holding the ball a little bit too long. I think he's missing opportunities and guys that are open that he could get the ball to. So I think some of the mental processing needs to pick up the pace as for what he's seeing on the field with his field vision. His progressional reads, I mean, they don't really go through too many reads with Virginia Tech, but I do see him staring down his receivers a little bit too often. So there's just some aspects to his game that he's going to have to develop if we're trying to get to that upside potential of him being an NFL prospect. Like, we got some big guys. Lenore Sellers is another one. And some of the same issues I have with Sellers from what I've seen, I see with Drones too. So he's a bigger guy with that dual threat ability that is going to be on a lot of people's radars for fantasy. But when it comes to him being an actual NFL quarterback, between the ears has got to improve. So that's why right now, Kyron Drones is going to be a stock down.
Yeah, I can't say that I've watched. I watched the Virginia Tech game this weekend. We just talked about it a little bit, but I haven't watched a lot of him. So, but
Yeah.
he has. There are a lot of people that are fans of him. So, there are our Devy College stock report players for week 5.